Today we are reviewing the Afterglow controller by PDP. Now if you've ever been inside a GameStop, a Best Buy, Walmart, Target, then you've seen this controller in passing. Maybe you paid attention, maybe you didn't. But this controller is pretty much in every box store out there. But is it a controller worth buying in 2022? Let's get into it. One of the bigger features of this controller is that it lights up. Very similar to the Power A Spectra Infinity controller. Now off the rip, straight off the bat, I can honestly say that the Power A and Spectra Infinity is better than this controller, but only because of the litany of features the Spectra Infinity has. But when it comes to color, RGB, LED, and brightness, like the color of the controller, the main thing about the controllers, Afterglow has the Spectra Infinity beat hands down, but only in that aspect, but we'll get more into that later. So first, out the box, you don't get much. You just get the controller and a 10-foot cable. It's not a braided cable, just a regular one, which isn't the worst thing, and it's micro USB. So if you thought that you was going to be using this controller with other things, no. It is not USB-C, it's just micro USB. So this is going to be a little bit of a unique controller in this next gen era. The feel of the controller is not bad. It's kind of like a glass cased controller, so there's absolutely no grip. So again, if you have sweaty hands, good luck to you. The analog sticks, like, they bounce back very quickly. You know, I think they're really responsive. I like that. You know, the Xbox Series XS, it's not quite as quick, you can see. The buttons feel like an Xbox One controller, not an Xbox Series XS controller. In fact, this whole controller is a little bit more like an Xbox One controller, not really an Xbox Series controller. You can even see the triggers much louder than the Xbox Series X controller. You see that? Right in the mic. The controls on the controller are pretty nifty themselves as well. You have this button right on the bottom right of the right analog stick called the function button. Now that function button pretty much controls all of the in-controller settings that you have. So if you press it twice, you'll mute the mic on the controller. If you hold the function button and then move the D-pad up or down, you'll increase or decrease the volume of your mic on the controller. While holding the function button, if you hold the D-pad left or right, you'll increase or decrease the volume of the game chat, left being increasing the game chat volume, right being decreasing the game chat volume. And when you're holding the function button while moving the left analog stick left or right, you'll be changing the colors on the controller. Then you release the function button to save the color of the controller that you would like. And while holding the function button, if you click the left trigger, you'll also adjust its brightness. Then you release to save the brightness. And then to cycle through the lighting modes, all you have to do is hold down the function button and then press the left or right bumpers. And then boom, you have different lighting modes like breathing, cycle, or static, which is pretty cool. So that's all the in-controller functions that you have, which I always do respect in a controller. I don't like to download software to get everything that I need to get done with a controller. I love having it right there in front of me so I can get in and get out, which is really dope. But they do offer a software called PDP Control Hub, of which I'll show you now. Okay, so to download the app, all you have to do is go to Microsoft Store. You can really just type in PDP and you should get it. You see, right there at the top. Then now I already have it, so instead of downloading and installing, I'm just gonna launch the app. But it's a very simple install. Same thing on Windows. I'm doing this on Xbox, but if you went to Windows, it's the same exact thing. Now, one thing I have to say about this app is that it's definitely not the most sophisticated or in-depth app I've ever used for controllers. The Elite Series 2 app does way more, and the Razer Synapse app does way more. But there's not that much that you need this app for that you can't do in the controller itself. Only couple things that this app is really good for is adjusting the dead zones on your right and left sticks and your triggers. So I'll show you really quickly. So from here, you would just go to the left and go to configuration. From there, you can start adjusting things like the analog sticks, audio triggers, and everything that you see there. So let's try with the analog stick. You just gotta go to begin. There you are. And now I can start adjusting. Oh, well, first you have to select the analog sticks. Then now I can start adjusting how large the dead zone is, how small, things like that. Pretty nifty stuff. Then you go to, go back to configuration. Then you go to Well, audio is pretty self-explanatory. I don't really need to get into it. But actually, let me just show you really quickly. You see, you can start adjusting the balance of the audio, mic, stuff like that. But again, stuff like that you could do in the controller itself. Triggers, you can adjust the dead zones on the triggers as well. Like that. So you can start showing, you know, where you want the trigger dead zone to be, things like that. You can also adjust the, oh my goodness. You can also adjust the, and that's one thing I have to say about this app. It's a little clunky, just a little bit, because getting just one level back is a little annoying. You definitely have to start realizing what you're doing. But you can adjust the vibration, remap buttons, and here you have the lighting as well. Oh my gosh. Goodness gracious. This is why I hate software, guys. Just every company should just have this stuff built in. But then you can adjust the light on the controller, similar to what we did earlier. You see, from here I can adjust the light and make the color. You can see that the color of my controller is going to change. Same way with the app. So it's definitely pretty cool. But again, most of what you'll use is already built into the controller. Anything else like the dead zones and the stuff like that, you could come to this app, and it's really an okay app. I don't really find it to be that useful. Yes, you can adjust the dead zones, but your ability to adjust the dead zones it's not the most sophisticated way. And here you can see that they release tweets for you to see on the app, which is kind of cool, I guess. I don't know if you're a real big Twitter head, that might be useful to you. But yeah, and there you have it. The app is not bad. I do like the app, especially for adjusting dead zones and things along that nature. But it's okay. It's not the most sophisticated dead zone adjustment app or software I've ever seen, but it would definitely do the job. But in general, I don't really know why they went that far. And you know, this is not really a controller that you'd be competitively gaming with. There's no trigger stops, there's no remappable back buttons, there's no grip. I mean, this is a good time controller. So the fact that they even have an app for settings like those, I mean, I guess it's better than nothing. But overall, that's the controller. What do I think about it? I think it's a cool controller. I think the controller is really nice to give to your little brother or whoever, you know, whatever young one you have playing around. It might be a good controller for maybe when you're playing regular games and you just want to chill and relax, especially if you're in the dark and you really want to utilize that LED feature. That would be pretty cool. But anything more than that, I mean, you know, because you know, one comparison that you can make immediately about this controller is the PowerA Spectra Infinity. Now, the PowerA Spectra Infinity is, in my opinion, a powerhouse of features at the price that it is. With this controller, you know, it's not a powerhouse. The price matches the features of this controller. With the Spectra Infinity, in my opinion, and I hope PowerA don't hear me, but I mean, they could bump the price up on that controller to like $50, $60, and it would make sense. I mean, you get everything on that controller: trigger stops, back buttons. Like I don't know what else to ask for. But with this controller, you know, you get the LED, so that's nice and that's cool. So it's definitely something. What I'll do though, moving forward, I think I'll use this controller to experiment on, because now I can see what's inside a controller, and I can maybe even do some YouTube videos about how to tear down a controller, what to look for, what to see, what to do. It's something to think about. But that's the review of the PDP Afterglow controller. Let me know if I said anything wrong. Is there anything that I could have done better? Is there anything that I don't know about this controller? I mean, I read the manual, I tried it out, I tested it out. What more do you want from me? I hope you enjoyed the video. Chukavelli was in. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe. Help a brother out. Thank you. Chukavelli was in, and Chukavelli is out. Peace, man.